because I think people are very confused about why this cap has been introduced. There's all sorts of ideas and notions floating around. It's actually, as Martin mentioned there, it goes back to 2007, but very briefly, what are we talking about here? Why are we saying we have to limit the number of passengers going through Dublin Airport?
It's a series of unfortunate events. Lemony Snicket, 2007, and lots of concerns about the M50. It was 2 lanes, a barrier that went up and down. Some of the audience will remember it. And the passenger numbers in Dublin Airport went from 17 million to 20 million. It wasn't a Fingal County Council, it was Bord Planola put it in as a condition. When you hit 32 million, you've got to apply for planning permission because we're worried about the capacity of the M50. It was a long way away. We hit it immediately pre-pandemic, not much fuss about it. But this time round, it's come with a lot of add-ons. There's a whole technicolor range of different concerns have entered the debate. Globalisation, immigration, emissions, the regional airports. Somebody in Wicklow wants to build an airport down there. So instead of concentrating on what caused this in the first place, we now have a debate that seems to be running off in different directions. Another big problem, Katie, was Dublin Airport is not designated, our national main airport on the island, as critical infrastructure. It was, and the designation was removed to try and facilitate something else about emissions measurement. So we are left now with a major problem that a lot of the politicians, James Lawless is doing a consultation process at the moment, the junior minister, are looking for a way to solve it. And there is no clear-cut way of solving it except exactly what Conor said. We're going to end up in the courts. It could be in breach of competition law. It's very likely in breach of EU law. And we could have a tit-for-tat situation with America, as happened with Amsterdam. Lots of danger out there. And all we need is some face-saving exercise for everybody involved, Fingal County Council, Bord Planola, and the vociferous people campaigning on each direction. Maybe I'm not dissipating any of the concerns, but we need a quick fix to this because end of October, the first country in Europe to start capping passengers coming in and out of their major airport, the first airport to get a cap, and that's the IAA were mandated to do that. I've no idea how it went from the M50 with the barrier to that.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you in some of those points in a moment, Róisín, but I do want to go back. I raised it just briefly at the top of the programme. What you've said, Conor, about the impact of this. The greatest act of self-harm, economic self-harm since the foundation of the state.
Yes.
That's a very big statement.
It is, and I stand over it. It's a ridiculous situation. And we've heard the Taoiseach himself last weekend say it was madness to have an airport cap. We've had discussions with the Minister of Finance, the Junior Minister of Transport. They have all agreed that it's a ridiculous situation. It needs to go. The Fingal County Council CEO would also agree with that position, and their own county plan allows for the airport to go to 40 million, and that was approved in 2017. So we have this situation where all of the policymakers and regulators are agreeing that this is crazy.
Well, hang on a second now. Is the Transport Minister agreeing?
The Junior Minister for Transport, who is the
Transport Minister, Eamon Ryan?
No, Eamon Ryan has been silent on this matter ever since the start of his tenure. He refuses to get involved in aviation, even when we opened the Donegal route. Even when we opened the Donegal route,
to the regional airports, how is that not getting involved in
He doesn't get involved. He hides all the time.
As Minister for Transport, he gave 147 million to the regional airports.
I can tell you, as someone who's been in the industry for 46 years, I have never seen a Minister for Transport have less interest in aviation.
He has said,
and we're an island economy,
on interviews on national radio, that the cap is a blunt instrument, and that it. But unfortunately, as Eoin pointed out, we are in a situation where it is now down to Fingal County Council planners.
No,
that's not Eamon Ryan's fault.
No, I'd like to say something here.
That's not Mr. Ryan's fault.
Look, we try to run businesses and we try to provide services, that are economical and efficient. We vote our politicians so that they can apply the law and they can apply policy. Our politicians have failed miserably here. They have not stepped up with any leadership to show that they can fix these problems.
Okay,
we've been talking about it for over a year, Róisín.
In the 80s, we had all the ministers sticking their fingers into every planning situation and leaving us in a huge situation around housing and many other things.
But we don't have that now.
It is not legally okay for the minister to intervene and say, sorry, I've decided I want to change the planning laws.
Okay, so
He
I'll
cannot do
ask
that.
one question.
cannot do that.
Has the Minister asked the Attorney-General for a legal opinion? Because our information is the Attorney-General has not been asked to give a legal opinion on the measures being sought at the moment.
Okay, and I'm going to just let Róisín respond to this for a moment, because this is something that Michael O'Leary put out over the weekend as well, saying that he had got cast iron legal advice saying that not only does the Minister, Eamon Ryan, have the power to intervene and override this, but that he's actually in breach of EU law and this Open Skies agreement between the EU and the US by not doing that. And he says that he'll take him to court and he'll win.
Yeah.
So where has the Minister asked for legal advice?
You should shoot every travel agent and that nobody should ever get their money back if they miss a flight. So I'm not sure
where are we at with
he's
legal
not even in the room.
If we could just respond to the legal advice issue. Do we know, has he asked the Attorney-General, has he received legal advice on his powers in this area?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, just because Michael O'Leary says something and pays lawyers lots of money to maybe come up with ideas that he wants them to come across, does not mean we should have he's a businessman. He's not a planner, he's not a politician, but he gets so involved in things that have nothing to do with him. And all he wants to do is make money. He made $2 billion profit last year. He's already saying, I'm going to have to hike the prices next year.
Michael O'Leary isn't here, to be fair.
Yeah, but you brought him up.
No, but I brought up the legal advice. I was asking a question about legal advice. So can we just establish, has the Attorney-General offered or given the Minister legal advice in this regard?
This only came out in the last few days, as far as I'm aware.
But this issue has been rolling for some time, so surely this issue, whether or not this was going to be...
Oh, yeah, he has been told that because it's a planning issue, he has to leave it to the Fingal Council. That was the advice he was given. Now, the latest thing with Michael O'Leary and some EU Open Skies
thing... Can I just be clear about this, Róisín Garvey, because this is a point of contention. You're saying the Attorney-General has told Michael O'Leary that he cannot intervene under any circumstances?
Anything about the Attorney-General. I don't know what the Attorney-General has said. I'm not quoting him at all.
OK, so where is the understanding, the legal position of non-intervention?
This is the new thing that Michael O'Leary has come out with, I think, today or yesterday.
I'm talking about the Minister's position and in terms of the legal advice.
The Minister has always said...
I know what he said. Where did he get that legal advice?
That is the law. You don't interfere with planning. We have brought new laws in because of the precedent we had for years of ministers interfering in laws and making really bad decisions, which is really why we have a... It's really why we have a housing crisis and a health crisis, because of ministers interfering, taking care of their own backyard instead of ruling the country. And I'm sorry, Minister Eamon Ryan has no place in getting involved in this planning decision. This is back to the DAA leaving it since 2007 and have done nothing about this. They've come very late to the game. They only brought it in last December. They didn't bring everything they needed. They needed extra time. Now it's looking like they won't even have all the paperwork done until November. So I'm sorry now, but we can blame Minister all you want, but the reality is the DAA...
the Minister's gone into hiding. The Minister has gone into hiding. He's hiding behind, and it's a fictitious legal argument he makes. He has not gone to the Attorney General.
There are planning laws, Eamon, I'm sorry. No, but do you want the Minister to intervene in planning? Is that what you're saying?
I'm asking the Minister to go to the Attorney General and ask a simple question. Can we suspend these measures while the review is ongoing? The review will come out with its final ruling. As Eoghan has already said, there's prima facie a case for this cap to be lifted. In fact, tomorrow you could lift the airport cap to 36 million without any works going on at the airport.
And just dismiss all the jobs of all the planners. Is this they become null and void?
The planners didn't come out with this. This was Board Planola and the road system. So this is about the road system.
But currently it's down to Fingal Council to make a decision on this. Isn't that right?
It's a little bit more complicated because Board Planola's own inspector said 5 years ago that about all the larger issues, passenger numbers should not be part of the planning process, and that seems to have been reinterpreted down the way. We're not into dotting I's and splitting T's, and we're costing the country and the economy while we do that.
Well,
we need a process. We need a process to get this through.
We can make money in lots of other parts of the country as well. It's not all about Dublin.
And literally I'm going to bring in John on that and to say, I just want to say, because you brought up the DAA there, and we did ask the DAA to join us this evening, and nobody was available to us, but they did send us a statement, and just a couple of points. They're saying they're exploring an interim application for 36 million passenger cap. Obviously we're hearing the long-term goal is for 40 million. They're saying they're exploring this idea now. They're saying again that they estimate the damage of this million seats coming out of operation in the summer to be at least cost the economy at least 500 million. They're saying this issue is no longer just an airport or a planning issue, it's now an Ireland issue. And they do acknowledge, as the point you made there, Róisín, that they should have applied to remove that cap earlier. and they did actually apply at one stage, withdrew it for technical reasons. They acknowledged that they should have done this several years earlier. But the planning system now has everyone
all
tied.
the money can be made in Dublin only. We can make it in Shannon, no problem, and Cork.
Let's bring in John Moran now. John, you've been sitting very patiently there. You think that Dublin's difficulty may be Shannon and Cork's opportunity?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've been listening to this, and I think there's two things I would say straight away, right? So I came up here from Limerick today to listen to this conversation, and up to now, all the conversation has been about a very singular focus, Dublin cap, whereas actually part of the solution, at least in the short term, is staring us in the face, which is 5 million flights of capacity between Cork and Shannon, right? We're talking about a loss of 500 million. It would cost an awful lot less to put proper bus systems in place between Dublin down to Shannon and down to Cork. The railway station that we want to get in place to Shannon Airport would mean that it could become the first airport to be connected to the Interrail system. And I think this is sadly one of the problems that we have here again, is that we're looking just through the eyes of effectively the studio at a Dublin problem and thinking that the only solution lies in Dublin, whereas it's outside. Now, I would have no doubt in my mind that the cap will get lifted along the way, right? But we're going to have the same problem again. This is like kind of building a road and actually having more traffic, right? Unless we fundamentally rebalance the country, this problem will be staring us again in the face in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time, or whatever. And we've heard from Mr. McCarthy, right, that he wants to apply just a commercial lens through all of his decisions, as he's entitled to do, because he's there, right? But this woman from Donegal is pointing out that we need to be more strategic about assets like airplanes, which is why it is a planning issue. You can't just build your house where you want. You have to actually think about it with the greater good, right? We could actually approach this similar to what they do in the UK, similar to what they do in Paris, and say, we have one big airport in this country, right beside our capital city. Let's focus the flights in and out of that to get us new connections to new countries, like Sao Paulo, like Brazil, all of those, right? 98% of the 15 million flights that have come into Dublin have gone to the same destinations in the last 10 or 15 years. So why don't we actually allow Shannon and Cork to spend way more time focusing on short-term short-term European ones, so that Dublin can become the long haul, like Heathrow is in the UK.
Okay, can I just ask the man who's flying the planes in and out, why is there such a focus on
The focus is
Dublin?
Airlines fly aircraft where they can make money. That's a very simple summary of what we do. The aircraft is the most mobile asset we know, not like planning for houses or anywhere else. We can fly wherever we go. If we thought there was a commercial opportunity in Shannon or in Cork, we would take that opportunity on. And we take these opportunities on all the time.
But why don't you think it's there? Right, if we allowed banks to take that kind of an approach,
John,
shut branches all across the country.
The banks have shut a lot of branches across the country.
But John, you've never run an airline. You've never sat behind
GPA.
Yeah, GPA rented airplanes to airlines. They've never
so it's
run
not an industry
routes.
I don't understand.
But
Well, no, clearly you don't.
I think
Clearly
if
you
you're
don't.
a good salesman and do the pitch,
It's
you can get
an
people
absolutely
it could be
facile
viable.
argument.
Okay,
If
4%
I'm
of the
sitting
flights.
in London and I want a weekend in Dublin and I can't get a fare at the right price, I'll go to Prague, I'll go to Stockholm, where they've just got rid of all
Or
airports.
perhaps come to
packed
Shannon.
aircraft-
Or perhaps go to Cork.
Actually,
People
40%
will not-
of the people who fly to
it's-
Dublin go
it's-
straight to the west.
People,
so fly the 40%
they
into the
don't
west.
fly straight
They
to
do.
the west.
38% do.
So
Look at the
why
statistics
aren't-
at Dublin Airport
why
about
isn't
that.
Shannon bigger than Dublin if that's the case, if they all go to the
Look,
west?
can I give you an
because
example?
they have a choice
Let me
today.
explain
Okay,
one point.
okay, let
Have a
John,
choice.
let John a bit of space there.
In the next 5 years in this country, okay, the government is investing in capital infrastructure in Dublin, 19,000 per person. The same government is investing about 9,000 per person in Limerick, about 9,500 in Cork. There is an imbalance in this country that is impossible to manage unless we actually rebalance it. In order to actually put that back to norm, right, I'm not saying take anything from Dublin, I'm just saying give Limerick its fair chance. I would actually have, as Mayor of Limerick, $1.75 billion to spend in the next 5 years. I could put a train line out to Shannon. I could give buses that go in and out. I could probably give free car parking in Shannon. as part of that, which would make it really attractive as an opportunity from anybody from Kildare
People
all the
have
way
the choice
to
today.
No.
They
No,
do
they
have the choice
I don't have the
today.
choice
You know
as
they
somebody
don't
who
have the
lives
same
in Limerick.
choice.
They have the choice today.
don't.
Shannon, actually, as an airport, with the catchment area it
There are
has,
2 flights to
punches
Paris in
twice as big as its weight compared to any other catchment.
It's
So you can
not
compare Shannon to the likes of Aberdeen. It has twice as many.
The catchment area
Aberdeen
of Limerick is
twice.
about 1.5 million people.
Well,
there
you're
are
really
40%
spreading
of
it
the
there,
people.
John. You're really spreading it there. If
I
you
have
were
to go
there,
2
you'd
hours
be a
to
busier,
Dublin.
you'd have a
so
busier
am I part
airport.
of the catchment of Dublin?
But John, I would fly
Right.
there if I could make money. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't make money tomorrow.
You can make
Okay,
more
I
money
need
in
to-
Dublin is the point.
Okay.